Hello there, everybody. Welcome to Fireside Chat number something, I guess 297 or 8. We're approaching 300. Mr. Tubbs is present. There is no guarantee he will be here in 5 minutes. But at least you got a chance to see him. Is his face visible? Mm-hmm. Oh, nice. So when Mr. Tubbs is out with us, out and about, it is amazing how many people stop to talk to him. He is a magnet. He is a human magnet. Well, he's a dog magnet, but he attracts humans. It's quite actually very moving and touching and fun to see. So I have a rather important subject that I probably have addressed 3 times at least in the nearly 300 Fireside Chats, but it's on my mind again because it's getting worse, the problem. I call it a pandemic of cruelty. Now, what's interesting is, for those of you not in the United States, I don't know how prevalent this is in your country. Yeah, he's loud. Is it distracting loud? I think you could live with it. It's sort of like, what do they call it? The white noise.
White noise. Yeah.
White supremacist noise.
Yeah, because your mic is here,
yeah.
Not there. So, okay.
Isn't it amazing? You hear the word white now, and immediately there's some awful racial connotation. It's very, very sad.
You probably Google white noise racism and dead.
Yes, there must be a reason. Well, for those who are anti-white, white noise is redundant. That's what they would say. We live in a world of white noise. What does he do? Is he chewing on some elephant ear or whatever they chew on? So I call it the pandemic of cruelty because it is cruel. In some cases, it may be warranted. I fully acknowledge that, but for the most part, it isn't. I was saying that I don't know how prevalent this is in other countries. I'm not saying it isn't. I just don't know. Although I will tell you, I was speaking to a dear friend of ours from a Scandinavian country, and in fact, it exists in her family. So I don't know how rare it is in other countries, at least in the Western world. But in America, it is a pandemic, and that is of adult children who don't speak to a parent ever, who have, in effect, died while living. And let me just make clear, I'm not talking autobiographically. I pinch myself at how much I love and my children love me, and I'm very lucky. I really do. I believe I'm lucky. I think there's a lot of luck in how your children turn out. Let me say this for a moment because this might help a lot of parents. There's a lot of luck in all directions. If your children turn out wonderful, don't take too much credit. And if your children turn out awful, don't take too much blame. You are not the only reason a child turns out the way he or she did. Parents are not gods. So that is in and of itself worthy of the whole Fireside Chat, because so many parents are either too proud of themselves or too ashamed of themselves with regard to how their children have turned out. But having said that, there is a great deal of luck, I believe, and I feel that I'm the beneficiary of that with my own children. I'm only mentioning it because I don't want you to think I'm talking about my situation. Very often I raise an issue and I see comments on the internet, and they're often, oh, well, but it's because he... And they don't know what they're talking about. They just assume I have addressed an issue and I'm talking about me. It may be true, it may not be true. In either case, it's irrelevant. So I don't know how this issue arose, but I wrote about it so long ago One of my books is a book of essays, 44 essays on 44 subjects called Think a Second Time. If you want an introduction to my thinking on 40 subjects, that's the book to read, because they're all short essays. Think a Second Time is the name of the book, and it came out about 24 years ago, maybe 25, perfect quarter century. One of the essays is when adult children do not speak to their parents. So obviously I have talked about this for a long time. And so 25 years ago, I wrote about it. So I must have started talking about it at least 30 years ago. So this is not a new problem, but it has gotten worse. Let me remind you at this point that because we have good reason, unfortunately, to fear that one day we will be yanked, that is PragerU, or the Fireside chat alone, from YouTube or any of the other social media, we ask you to watch the Fireside chat at PragerU.com, or just get the PragerU app and use it, and that's the easiest way. Either way, but the rest of this particular segment or edition of the Fireside chat can be found at PragerU.com. It's very wonderful questions coming up. So please go to PragerU.com and I'll see you there.